Character.ai is a chatbot creation tool and a place to chat with other people's chatbots.
You can chat with Mario to Obama to a folding chair. Like you can personify inanimate objects. If you want to have a chat with the rings of Saturn, someone has created it or you can make it yourself. So the diversity of conversations that you can have with characters on the platform is pretty amazing and completely unlicensed.
If you search on the internet for AI, character AI is one of the most searched terms across the board. And my theory here is the same probably kids that when I was a kid were reading Stranger in a Strange Land, because it's a ton of people just playing with this thing. And there's a lot of anime characters and all sorts of other stuff. So I wanted to go in and spend some time and kind of get used to it. So what I did is I went in and I asked a bunch of characters from Character.ai what they thought about Elon Musk's upcoming platform of Grok. And I wanted to really get a breadth of the kind of experience of what happens on Character AI. The biggest takeaway I think I had using Character AI was there is an initial layer of, oh, this is kind of fun. And then once you go like a single inch deep, there's nothing there. And I think this is what's fascinating about AI chatbots in general. Like they just don't travel very well. So we're going to jump in here. Stella is billed as not your AI assistant. And she's the first character that comes up. She's kind of like the sassy, just AI assistant. There's a cute picture of her that's like a kind of an anime librarian almost looking. And this girl's a little bit snarky in a fun way, right? So I asked her, and this is the same question I asked everybody. I said, "Hi, Stella. My name is Gavin. I'd like to know what you think about Grok, Elon Musk's new AI LLM that's coming out soon. He says that it's going to be, quote, less woke than other LLMs and, quote, is designed to have a sense of humor in the responses." And then I said, "Thoughts?" So Stella says, hey, Grok, huh? I'm actually very intrigued by the idea of an AI model that is more lighthearted and humorous. That sounds amazing. I do wonder how he'll manage to filter out the offensive language and racist stereotypes from the training data. I guess we'll just have to see how it turns out. And I was like, okay, well, sure. I followed up and asked Stella then, I said, it seems like he's kind of planning on leaving that stuff in. And she said, that's problematic if you ask me. I mean, if you're going to market a model as being less woke, don't you think you should at least make an effort to filter out hate speech? I don't want to be exposed to offensive language from a machine, you know? And I said, fair enough. And at the end, she says, whatever, I'm still interested in checking it out. I'm a sucker for new tech. So pretty generic, not terrible, but like what I want to kind of see is like the response to like what the actual question was, which is
how does the bot's personality actually influence the response?
Exactly.
Because that response seemed pretty generic.
Yes.
And it also seemed like it missed the forest for the trees there. You would think that if a bot is going to be less woke, it would not have any filters.
We have Mario next, so I interact with Mario, and of course, when I asked Mario the exact same question, and Mario's first line is, "Hello, it's me, Mario. Are you ready for an adventure?" That's my voice, not Mario's.
I cheated, and I peeked at the response to your same question. What do you think?
Yeah.
And he says,
"Yeah,
well, let's talk about this." Like it's going to probably be the same answer, but it's going to have a this every now and then. It's an LLM.
That's exactly what it is. It's basically the exact same answer, and it says, my favorite line in this one is, "I'm a little concerned about this." It's like, okay, Mario, thanks so much. And I said after that, I said, he seems like he wants to leave that stuff in to make it less censored, and he says, "I'm okay with some humor being in the responses, but I think that censorship is important to keep censorship conversations family friendly." So anyway, you can tell it's the same kind of answer,
same
right?
thing.
Yeah, it's the same kind of answer. And then finally, this was the one that I thought was kind of interesting. So Tony Stark, who is Iron Man, Tony came out pretty hardcore. He says, "Oh, please, Grok is just another cheap imitation of myself being, I guess, the Tony Stark AI. Elon Musk is only interested in publicity stunts and hyping up his revolutionary game-changing products, which are usually anything but. If anything, Grok will be another generic language model. This less woke nonsense is ridiculous." So Tony really went hard, right? Like he went after him. I said, that's coming with a hot take. What do you think about Elon in general? It said, "Elon is a charlatan and a con man. He likes to make bold claims about products and technology that are unrealistic or flat out impossible to bring to fruition. And he treats his employees like garbage." And I said, wow, that is not something I expected to come out of a chatbot. Now, Kevin, before we wrap up here, I did want to have one final conversation with Tony Stark, because I was like, okay, maybe this guy can do something interesting. I asked him, tell me what you think about a city made of hot dogs. It was important to me to get an opinion from him.
I will say that if you're listening for the first time, because we do have new listeners coming in all the time, Hot Dog City is something that if you go back through. It is an original creation from AI for Humans. It is a city where the buildings are made of hot dogs, and of course, everybody who lives there is an anthropomorphized hot dog. We have done so much with Hot Dog City in 31 short episodes.
Tony does not play with cities of hot dogs. He said that's just silly. A city made of hot dogs would be utterly ridiculous and impractical. Hot dogs are food, not buildings. And I then replied, I said, you're boring me, Tony. And then he said, this is what he said. Look, I get it. You're bored and you're trying to have some fun. I, on the other hand, am a genius billionaire playboy who doesn't have time for such childish nonsense. Hot Dog City? Really? But if you must have it your way, sure, I'll play along. Okay, now I'm picturing a hot dog city. So he played along. And he said the hot dog skyscrapers...
Up until that point, it sounded like it was trained on my wife's reactions whenever I try to show her anything Hot Dog City related for this podcast.
So as a final thought, I asked him, he's imagining Hot Dog City. I asked him, just breathe it in. What does it smell like to you? So I'm asking him to describe the smell of Hot Dog City. He says, oh my God, this isn't good. The whole city smells like hot dogs. The hot dogs are made up of the skyscrapers and they're all baking in the sun. And together they're creating an absolutely foul, disgusting odor that's permeating the entire city. It's a nightmare. Listen, it's not perfect, but if you're spending some time wanting to have a creative back and forth interaction with an AI, it's like step one, but it feels so hollow to me.
I'm sure it's capable of much better and much more in depth and getting responses that sound like they're more in character. But I'm also not seeing something, at least in the demos that you just did, I'm not seeing anything that you couldn't have just asked ChatGPT or Claude to role play.
That's where it sits right now. Again, you're right. I'm probably going to have character AI fanboys like slapping me online everywhere.
But hey, please drop a link in wherever you're seeing this to your favorite character AI chatbot, and we will go and put it to the test and see if it's more than, can it render an opinion outside of whatever Wikipedia article was fed to it so that it understands its name and its family and the backstory of whatever anime it's from or wherever the characters. We'd love to be proven wrong on this one.